Horton Hatches the Egg by Theodore Dr. Seuss Giesel. Horton Hatches the Egg by Theodore Dr. Seuss Giesel. Even though Dr. Seuss wasn't a real doctor. Sighed Mayzie, a lazy bird, hatching an egg. I am tired and I am bored and I've got kinks in my leg from sitting here day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I much rather play. I take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to sit on my nest, if I could find someone, I'd fly away. Free. Then Horton the elephant passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? Mayzie asked. The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathers and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come on, be a good fellow. I know you won't mind, answered Mayzie. I can't, said the elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I'll give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed, continued Mayzie. Very well, since you insist, said the elephant. You want a vacation? Go, fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg. I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say, the elephant concluded. Toodaloo, sang out Mayzie and fluttered away. The first thing to do. Let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree and make it much stronger. That has to be done. Before I get on, I must weigh a ton, murmured Horton. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that, he said, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. And he sat all that day, and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured, and it lightened, it thundered, it rumbled. This isn't much fun. I wish you'd come back, because I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Mayzie bird doesn't forget, the poor elephant grumbled. But Mayzie by this time was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. Really, she won't. So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn. The leaves blew away, and then came winter. The snow and the sleet and icicles hung from his trunk and his feet, but Horton kept sitting there and said with a sneeze, Achoo! I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Achoo! So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through. And then came springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round and they all shouted with glee. Look, Horton the elephant's up in a tree, said a sour kangaroo. They taunted, they teased him, they yelled, how absurd, old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird. A giraffe said. They laughed and they all ran away. But Horton was lonely. He wanted to play. But he sat on the egg and continued to say, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Ah. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended, Horton said. But poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For a while Horton sat there so faithful and so kind. 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind him. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high and he threw out his chest. And he looked at the hunters as much as to say, shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. But the men didn't shoot. Much to Horton's surprise, they dropped their 3 guns, and they all stared with wide eyes. Look! Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree, they shouted. It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful. No, don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's just what we'll do, let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home for a circus for money, the hunters said. And the first thing you knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. We're off, the men shouted, and off they went, with Horton unhappy 100%. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains 10,000 feet high, then down, down the mountains and down to the sea went the cart, the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon and onto a ship, out over ocean, and oh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashing with the spray, and Horton said day after day after day, I meant what I said, whoa, and I said what I meant. But oh, I am seasick, 100%. Horton said. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch, tied onto a board they could just scarcely hold him. Bump! Horton landed, and then the men sold him. Sold to a circus, then week after week they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington too, to Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota, and everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in the tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went, but he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. Whoosh! An elephant's faithful. Oh, it's hot. 100%. Oh, it's so hot in this tent. Whoosh! Then, one day, the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach, and a dawdling along way up high in the sky, who, of all people, should chance to fly by. But that old good-for-nothing bird run away Mayzie, still on vacation and still just as lazy, and spying the flags in the tents just below, she sang out, What fun! Why, I'll go to the show. Really I will. And she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. Good gracious! I've seen you before, gasped Mayzie. Poor Horton looked up with his face as white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest, ear-splitting squeaks from the egg that he had sat on for 51 weeks. A thumping, a bumping, a wild alive scratching. My egg! My egg! Why, it's hatching! Horton shouted. But it's mine! Screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done, and now she wanted it back. It's my egg! You stole it from me! Get off of my nest and get out of my tree! She sputtered. Poor Horton bowed down with a sad, heavy heart. Poor Horton. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell, from the egg that he had sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears, a tail, and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, "What's all this about?" They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out, and they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They had never seen anything like it before. My goodness, my gracious, my word, it's something brand new. It's an elephant bird, they shouted. And should it be? It should be like that, because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat, he meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent him home happy 100%. The end.